A 17-year-old shot in the leg in Deltona, but help wasn't far away. A deputy rushed to the scene to help him.
You know, when a kid is shot and he's crying for his life, saying he doesn't want to die. However, we have a job to do. I'm not going to let anything happen to that kid.
Sheriff's office! Where's the sheriff's office? Out on the fucking ground now! Prone out! Put your hands out now! Roll over! Do not move! What am I doing?
This is the scene Volusia County Sheriff deputies were met with Thursday afternoon after witnesses tried to save a dog deputies say was repeatedly beat by 31-year-old Jose Rivera.
With a metal chain in the face numerous times. I'm one of those people, I cannot let that stand. I'm sorry.
You know, I'm very, very proud of the residents of Deltona that saw what was happening. I mean, as young as 13, knew we got to do something here.
A family in Palm Bay just adopted Bella, who you see here.
The family also just got back from vacation with Era, who enjoyed kayaking with her life jacket on and really just adjusting to a life full of love.
Azalea Spa in Deltona is just one of 10 massage parlors in Volusia County where employees were arrested on prostitution charges.
You're not going to know what's going on in your store, in your business, in your face.
As class number 5 goes forth, we talked about this in the hallway. My prayer for each and every one of you and your family is that you have a job for life. The future is yours. Seize it. You are the future of American policing. Don't ever forget that.
In Deltona, deputies were called to West Crowell Park around 5:30 for reports of people in the park firing guns. Witnesses heard shots and saw people running away. Nobody was hurt, but this did disrupt voting at a nearby polling location.
One, 2, 3, and the one with the gun is right after her. Yep, right there.
Right there.
That's the gun.
A shooting is under investigation.
See the crime scene tape here behind us right now. But here's what we know.
One person is dead after deputies say some type of road rage incident happened in the Deltona area.
Deputies now saying the shooter fired in self-defense.
Somebody cut somebody off, so somebody's dead because of that? It just doesn't make any sense.
The road rage is just crazy.
Motor 40, got a stick hit,
I can't believe this, man. What? I was going 110.
But deputies say he did have all of this stuff. A 3-day traffic crackdown by deputies. They say that led to almost 600 tickets, more than 50 arrests.
How's it going? What's up, man? I want to thank all of our vets, all of our active duty members, what they do to protect this nation day in and day out.
A Deltona man is accused of posing as a cancer patient to scam nonprofits in several states for money.
To fraud these charities to make money for, to make money for yourself, to be a scam artist. I mean, you can't be much bigger scumbag than that.
This is the Volusia Sheriff's Office. Come on down. Are we moving back?
Use the Bearcat for cover. Hands up, turn around, face away from me.
All right, K9, I got them in the water on the shoreline. Still no movement.
Show me your hands! Walk out! Hey!
This is going to be a big hit. There's a total of 5 search warrants are being served. 4 of them are being served at the exact same time.
2 arrests in a series of car burglaries, both suspects just 13 years old.
It was the department's live 911 system that allowed them to respond to the area in just minutes.
This is the moment Deputy Wes Bruff hears the voice of a missing 5-year-old boy in Deltona, Florida.
Coco! Hey, he's out here somewhere.
I think it was just get to him as fast as I could. I have 3 children of my own, one being a 5-year-old, so to have him hold on to me tightly like that, it really felt like it was my own kid holding on to me.
Hello?
Grandma.
Danny?
I'm in jail.
Oh my God.
The Volusia County Sheriff's Office seized on the new movie Thelma as an opportunity to educate seniors about scams as elder fraud increases in the county and nationwide.
A man from Georgia is arrested in Michigan, accused in a double shooting here in Florida.
We are very fortunate. God was smiling down. We're not talking about a double homicide here.
And then she brought some cookies. There's a zoom in picture. You ready? This is the one that made us all laugh.
Oh my goodness.
He is not usually a goofy type of dog and in that kind of mindset, so that was definitely funny to see.
Bogus school shooting threats are pushing a Florida sheriff to take controversial new steps.
Again, why are we focusing on the 1% that doesn't want to conform when the other 99% kids that are in lockdown, what's happening to them that nobody's caring about? I got him. Stop! Let me see your hands! We're running through the McDonald's right now, guys, going towards Deltona Boulevard. Show me your hands on the ground now.
Sheriff's Office, search warrant. Open the door.
Sheriff's Office, search warrant.
A Volusia County couple attacked a school resource deputy.
Jorge Rivera punched the deputy in the face.
If you get a hold of a deputy's taser, you could almost expect to get shot. Thank God that's not what happened in those close grounds.
This woman is facing charges tonight for allegedly running over a teenager. She covered up her license plate and drove off.
A crowd of people tried to figure out who was responsible for the alleged hit and run.
Did anybody see it?
People here in Deltona are hoping something can be done to prevent what happened to Charlie from happening again.
Working with Halifax and Easter Seals to try to come up with, and DCF, to try to identify families where we could figure out a way to get them technology. We saw the horrific deaths of 2 autistic children to drowning. Waylon Childs, 4 years old, and Charlie Newton, 7 years old. We are proud to partner with the Community Partnership for Children here in Volusia County to purchase 122 monitors. There isn't a magic bullet here to end this problem. But my goal is to put as much information as possible in the hands of the parents, and then they could make the determination on the best way to partner with law enforcement to create a safe environment for their child.
Good morning. Yes, this morning we executed a search warrant at the 2893 Monarch Avenue. A drug dealer who's previously done time in jail for dealing drugs. They were very successful. They're still there executing it right now, so I don't have the total numbers, but I can tell you that oxycodone, fentanyl, cocaine, Xanax, and marijuana was all recovered, along with firearms. So he's facing, I know, a armed trafficking charge in fentanyl and an armed trafficking charge in oxycodone. So that's going to put him away for a long time and rid that neighborhood of another drug dealer. We'll also, through technology, Overdose Task Force was out this morning, so the electronics that we seize on that will be analyzed by our digital forensic unit to see if we can create a link between those overdoses previously. So that was a really good hit this morning. As you said, it was good to begin the year with a bang. Overall, Sheriff's Narcotics for the year last year had a great year. They seized just under 2,000 grams of fentanyl, over 11,000 grams of meth, and over 24,000 grams of cocaine. Here in the city of Deltona, DNET, through their investigative efforts, completed 199 cases. They made a total of 118 arrests. They seized $565,000 worth of narcotics, which include 158 grams of fentanyl, which essentially equates to about 95,000 doses. 239 grams of meth and 3,278 grams of cocaine. They conducted 11 operations throughout the city related to prostitution, alcohol, vape, tobacco operations, where 21 stores were visited to ensure that they're complying with the laws, unlawful sexual activity at parks, gambling, and crime suppression. Over the year last year, our guys, with their gambling efforts countywide, seized 525 machines in our efforts to shut down these illegal casinos that are occurring. How this parlays into our efforts to try to reduce the deaths that we're seeing. We were successful last year in reducing the number of overdose deaths from 2023. In 2024, unfortunately, we did have 175 countywide, but that was 27% lower than it was the previous year. Overdoses countywide were at 1,089, which is a 30% reduction from 2023. How that looks compared to Deltona, Deltona had 78 of the 175 deaths that occurred here in the city of Deltona, which is actually a 44% decrease from the year 2023. And overdoses was at 78. Again, countywide, there was 1,089. 78 of those overdoses were in the city, which is a 44% reduction. I'm sorry, and 15 deaths. 15 deaths out of 78 deaths. Yeah, I'm sorry. Out of the 175 deaths countywide, 15 of those were from the city of Deltona, which represents a 37% reduction from 2023. So in 2023, Deltona experienced 24 deaths. Compared to 15 in 2024. And in 2023, they experienced 139 overdoses compared to 78. So our efforts through the narcotics detectives and the overdose task force are, I think, having an effect with lowering those numbers.
Very good. You guys want to ask? Okay, where we're going?
I do. I just a little bit of input and feedback. One of the incidents that you saw up there, the shooting at Annie Rodriguez Park, I want to let you know that there was a youth in my neighborhood that was involved in that shooting. And this kid, a couple of days after this, called me because I had approached him a couple times that Annie Rodriguez was smoking pot. And we had guys come out and out of the park, so he's known to your office. However, with that being said, I want to tell you, that kid called me, and a couple of deputies go with me to the park and said I need to talk. They sat in the background, but we met. This kid, since this incident right here, has really turned himself around. And I want to thank you for the support. Carla, thank you so much. You're very familiar with this kid. This kid's been back in church. The kid is going to school, about to finish up all of his community service hours, and he has turned himself around. I mean, proof is in the pudding, but I want to thank you all for your support. The deputies that showed up, the one that continued to keep that area safe. So with sometimes these incidents happen, you know what I mean, with good support like you have provided, there's an opportunity for these kids to turn around. So I just want to thank you, Carla. I know these texted you and reached out to you trying to be responsible. So thank you, Sheriff, for having that dialogue with me, and your deputies, a couple of them especially, Captain Howard, for giving me the direction, getting the kid ready to go into the military. So thank you all.
Excellent. You know, I just want you guys to see the money you spent on technology. That video was from your cameras. That's how important those cameras are to solving crime. So
I have a question regarding the illegal acts in the parks. Is there any specific park target, or is it supposed to be airport?
For the unlawful sexual activity, it's when we get complaints, and then those are the parks that we will do surveillance on. We did not, I don't believe we made an arrest. Did we make an arrest, Stephen?
I don't think we made.
Yeah, we executed 2 operations here, and we did not, we were not successful. I can tell you this, we have parks on the east side of the county that we were very successful when we visit those, but when we do get complaints about that, we will actually then do surveillance and attempt, and thankfully we did not locate anybody within those parks that was committing any kind of sexual offense or trying to pick up anybody.
I'm asking because I know that we had an issue one time in Thornby Park, off of Providence and George Drive, and we had to sort of clear out the surrounding bushes to make it visible from the streets and stuff like that. So I just wanted to find out if that was one of them, so that we can address that again in the city.
No, that I can tell you the parks that we are successful in completing these and identifying perpetrators and arresting them are the parks that have privacy areas or debris where they can actually go back into the woods. So the clearing of the park area and allowing things not to happen behind bushes actually is a deterrent and works.
Usually Greencoat Springs, I think, is Greencoat Springs. Yeah, out there on the Lake Shore River. That's usually the one that we have.
That's the county responsibility.
Omar, you got it. Go for it.
Morning, Sheriff.
Morning.
Captain Omar McKnight. I took over in October for Captain Eric Powers, and I got to tell you, it's been a successful year after looking at these numbers. I'm going to go over kind of the year-to-date numbers for our clearance rates. For our total persons crimes, we were just under 89% for the year in the city of Deltona. In our property crimes, we were at 48.4%, and our total clearance rate for all crimes in the city was 76.7%. I know traffic is a very big topic here in the city, and between our traffic unit and our patrol unit, a combination of citations and warnings, we had 19,178 pieces of paper that was turned in for the whole year, that's significant. For this CompStat period, we had over 1,100 citations and warnings issued in the month of December. Going over our clearance rates for this CompStat period, we were at 89% for persons crimes, we were at 59.6% for our property crimes, and we were at 76.2% for our Group A crimes.
I think the thing to point out is the national average. We are like 2 times higher than the national average when it comes to solving crimes.
Yes, sir. So during this period, we had a couple of different crime trends. Our detectives will talk about that here shortly, but in response to those, we had our crime suppression team with Deltona and also a crime suppression team from District 2 in DeLand kind of come over here. We did 2 different operations. One of them we targeted from midnight to 3 a.m. because that's the time for the crimes we were having, which was our Kia and Hyundai thefts and just car burglaries in general. And we also did another operation 2 weeks later, and that was from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. During that time, we did 48 stops. We had 9 misdemeanor arrests, 4 felony arrests, and we also did 36 juvenile curfew checks to deter the crime. And we've seen a reduction in that crime as well. Jerry, you want to touch on anything?
Yeah, we can go ahead and go into that. Anna, will you put the map up, please?
This was our big issue we had from December 1st to December 8th.
Yeah. So our first crime trend that we had here that we're looking at is an Orange County crew. We identified, 3 black males came over on the morning of December 7th. During their 3 to 4 hours here in the city, they broke into 7 cars, stole 3 cars. One of the vehicles they abandoned because it had car trouble. The other 2 they took back to Orange County. We have them on video at the racetrack leaving the county or leaving the city. We see 2 of them in video. However, the distance of it is too far to get a facial recognition or anything like that to use technology on them. Both of those cars have been recovered in Orange County. The first one, let me back up for a second. The car they came over here in, they stole from Orange County to do the crime in. They left it here, took back the 2 stolen cars from Deltona. Both of those vehicles have been recovered. One of them broke down on the side of the road, and a Good Samaritan in Orange County stopped to help them, and they carjacked them and took their car. So these individuals that are coming over here are pretty violent. The best thing that I can recommend for the citizens and stuff, if you have a Kia or a Hyundai that fall within this range, the date range of being built, is lock it. Don't leave it unlocked. These cars are easily stolen by technology they use to USB ports in the cars. And they target them for a specific reason because they are so easy.
TikTok famous.
TikTok famous, yeah. It's amazing what these kids can learn on just TikTok, YouTube videos, and stuff like that. We're still working this one. However, All of those cars were processed. We're waiting to get back some of the results from that, DNA, fingerprints, and stuff like that. The second crime spree is, technically it started on December 1st. This is in the neighborhood that is Normandy and Saxon to Tivoli, that neighborhood there. These crime trends, we believe, are juveniles that live in the area. They would steal the car, Kias or Hyundais, joyride them for a couple hours and then dump them. All of those cars were found within the next day of the theft or a couple days afterwards, wherever they dumped them. Video surveillance showed them going back to a specific area. We had a lull in crime once we reached out to a couple of the parents of these individuals, but recently we had a second or another spree pop back up just on the outside of this neighborhood, and we think it's the same one. Captain McKnight over there, we did several operations in the area, and technology and stuff has been placed to kind of combat these crimes.
If you remember last Christmas break, they stole 17 or more Kias and everything else. So what they did was they went after the same kids that got arrested for that spree. Their parents didn't cooperate this time, but they let them know they were being watched, and then we went where we didn't have any, and then the other night we had like a 2024 Kia stolen, and then something else came into play. So we're pretty sure that it's these little bastards that are back out again. So,
all right, we'll jump into the crime for the month. Start with the domestic violence cases. We had 8 aggravated domestic violence cases that were all cleared by arrest. We had 31 simple domestic violence cases that were cleared by arrest. We had to file 1 case because they were out of the area. Let's jump into our property crimes. First burglary we had was 224 Dartmouth Street in Deltona. This was a relationship that had just ceased, so one of the parties came back to the home, entered the home, and there was a disturbance there, and then they were arrested for burglary and battery. That was cleared by arrest. Next burglary we have is 2688 Collingswood Drive. This was also cleared by arrest. This is a juvenile from the area. This was actually a dog bite that we got in this case. So he fled from us, and we actually apprehended him with our canine. Next burglary, 2562 North Waco Drive. This was on the first of the year, and our defendant entered a vehicle that was in the driveway, rummaged through it, stole some credit cards, and was later located and placed under arrest. We got a burglary, 957 Winbrook Drive. This is where the victim was alerted from her camera that was motion at the front door. He was attempting to get entry into the front door, and the detectives did a great job on this. I'll let them speak on this one. This is the Kenneth Huffman case.
Yeah, this was, I think a call out on this one. The detectives did a good job of locating the suspect and identifying him and getting an affidavit out, and he was arrested on that affidavit.
Extensive criminal history, 16 prior felony arrests, 7 misdemeanor arrests. As well as the one before that, where you had the juvenile, one of Carla's kids there.
Armani Gaskins.
Yeah, Gaskins got 5 prior felony arrests.
So we have a burglary at 325 Dixon Avenue in Osteen. This is also related to a crime later on we'll talk about. Sometime overnight, the suspects entered 3 different vehicles on the property, stole $3,000 worth of tools. Detectives have got some leads on this case as well. I'll let them speak on that.
Yeah, we were able to locate the suspect vehicle in this case. It was pulling one of the trailers that was stolen through technology in Seminole County. We are currently working on getting that vehicle stopped and getting the suspect that's driving it identified. The tag that they utilize is a temporary tag out of Texas and doesn't come back to anybody.
Next burglary, 991 Cortland Boulevard. This is a 3-day time lapse, and the suspect entered the property through an open garage and stole 16 boxes of flooring and also a portable speaker. And detectives have this case.
Yeah, we pulled video, or tried to pull video surveillance in the neighborhood. We were unable to find any that match any that or we could see any suspect vehicles or suspect persons walking on the roadway. There's no hits in any of the pond databases or social media sites of this stuff being sold. As of right now, we're still working, trying to get video surveillance on it to identify a suspect.
Next burglary, 1181 Whitewood Drive. This is where a nearby resident went into the covered porch area and stole a frying pan and went back to her house. She was located and arrested.
Frying pan.
A frying pan?
Yes.
A frying pan?
Yeah, but she's got 7 prior felony arrests, 11 misdemeanor arrests. She wasn't really close.
It was non-state.
What else do you do on December 28th, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon?
Next burglary, we have 2942 Grenold Street in Deltona. This was another TikTok trend where juveniles were they were trying to kick in the front door.
The sad part is when you get yourself shot. Yeah. It's 4:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah, these 2 juveniles were located and arrested. Last burglary, 1068 Kenmore Drive in Deltona. This was also a related incident between, they had a relationship together. It was a burglary battery. It was a known person, went into the house, unwanted, and then he was arrested for burglary and battery.
Sheriff, could you clarify too, I don't know if everybody knows that if there's a domestic violence case, am I correct, domestic violence case, the guy steals a phone, he can be charged for taking that phone, and that's why burglary.
They are 98% of the robberies in Deltona, and we'll give you a number here, they're all domestic robberies. You might have 2 or 3 where they rob a store, they rob a person, but the other 98% are just that. They fight in the car, the boyfriend or girlfriend snatches the phone out of somebody's hand, that under this new way of scoring by the FBI gets a robbery. So you look at the robbery and oh my God, Deltona had 200 robberies last year. Yeah, but 192 of them were domestic-related robberies.
And that's important to relay to the public when it comes to that, you know what I mean? Because that's the way it has to be reported. Then you want your residents and people potentially moving to understand what that number actually means. We're not a robbery-laden community.
Our business robberies and our person, like I say, not domestic, are minuscule compared to a city of 100,000 plus.
Yeah.
It's like a homicide. We had 1 homicide last year. It was moved. The justifiable homicide was never outrageous.
Yeah.
Where in Florida, we had a city of 100 plus thousand people who could say we technically have 0 homicides.
Can you repeat that like 3 hours? So.
Yeah. This the next crime they're going to talk about here is another example of not having nothing to do with it.
So just to touch on the robberies, for the year to date, we had a total of 73 robberies in the city of Deltona. Of those 73, 52 were domestic violence related. So.
And of the remaining, how many were cleared by arrest? Every single one of them.
Domestic violence, all 52 were cleared by arrest.
No, of the remaining 20-something.
13 of the 21 were cleared by arrest.
Which I'm not good at percentage.
61.9.
He's got all the answers. I don't get that sheet.
So the next crime trend that we have was a vandalism case. Let's see, they did a great job on this case as well. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 plus we got one at the end that was also related to weapons complaint, so 7 cases.
Yeah, Dylan Webb and Alex Downey, they went out on a joyride and decided that it was a good idea. Both of these individuals are 18 years old. They decided it was a good idea to go for a joyride and shoot out people's windows with the pellet guns. The morning that we came in and got this case, I gave it to Detective Calarza and expressed the urgency that these 2 individuals or the individuals responsible need to go to jail that day. He did a really good job of tracking these down. We located the suspect vehicle, seized it for a search warrant, and later that afternoon he was able to get a hold of the mom of one of these individuals, Dylan's mom. She was very cooperative. She understood the need that we need to get this case solved. She was very helpful. Both of those individuals came to do an interview with Detective Calarza. They both confessed. Unfortunately, their remorse was a little bit too late, and they were both arrested that afternoon. So.
Next case we have is a domestic violence robbery, 1930 Snook Drive, that was cleared by arrest. We have a, let's see, I'll skip the fraud, that's out for legal process. We had the first motor vehicle theft, it was actually a repo, so that's going to come off of our stats.
We got the Uber robbery too.
Say again?
The Uber robbery.
Yep.
From Deltona Boulevard.
Yes. And then, let's see, motor vehicle theft, 2480 Whitehorse Street. This was from actually DeLand area that the defendant took the victim's vehicle but then fled on I-4. We ended up stopping her here and then interviewed the defendant, and that was cleared by arrest as well. Next motor vehicle theft, 3418 Florentine Street, Deltona. This is a 2024 white Kia Sportage that was attempted to be stolen, or it was stolen, it's still outstanding. And detectives have this case.
Yeah, this one's still outstanding. This model of Kia shouldn't be able to be defeated by the USB thing, so we're not sure if they had a key fob on this or not. We're still looking for video surveillance in the neighborhood. It hasn't popped up on any of the technology, and this car has not been recovered. It's actively being worked.
This next motor vehicle theft has been recovered. This is a 2013 Hyundai. It was stolen and then recovered nearby. And this is part of our trend we spoke about earlier.
Yeah, part of the trend with the neighborhood over there in Saxon and Normandy area. So it's actively being worked, and the technology that we have in place is being reviewed. So.
And the last motor vehicle theft is a 2007 Yamaha moped that was borrowed and not returned. This was a transient from DeLand that has the moped. Moped still outstanding. She was identified, can't find her. This was filed with the state attorney's office. We got a robbery. This is the one that the sheriff referred to, the Uber driver that was robbed, and we ended up apprehending him via canine, and he was charged accordingly with robbery.
There's another guy with an extensive criminal history, 26 felonies, 9 misdemeanors.
Yeah. Next robbery we have at the Foxhead Lounge. This was a reported robbery that we deemed to be unfounded, and this will be coming off of our stats. However, the victim in this case was arrested for DUI and also arrested for simple battery for starting the fight at the Foxhead Lounge. I don't know if you want to touch on anything else with that.
Yeah, the guy's a known troublemaker. He's involved in some fraudulent activity and contracting work in the area also. He went up in the bar and punched somebody, and then he found out that it wasn't a good idea and got beat up and lost his chain in the scuffle and tried to play victim, but he went to jail for battery and DUI because he decided to drive.
So for this CompStat period, we had a total of 14 shoplifting cases. One of them, the detectives have the case, and they have enough probable cause to arrest their suspect. The other 13 have all been cleared by arrest.
Just to give you a feeling, that's really unheard of that you have that many shoplifting and with arrests. Walmart played a huge role in partnering with us and allowing us to pay for details we got there during the holidays to allow us to make all those arrests. Overwhelming majority of them are Walmart. We're now on Boulevard. So they did a great job.
So we'll be 100% as soon as this guy's.
An arrest warrant was issued for his arrest yesterday, for the CID had.
So we have a theft, 213 South 8th Street in Osteen. This is related to the red Dodge pickup we spoke about earlier, and detectives are actively working this case.
Yeah, I expect these to be resolved shortly, as soon as we locate the vehicle.
As far as thefts of note, we had a couple vehicle tags that were stolen. We don't have any leads on those. We have a theft from 1726 Monticello Street. This was unfounded. This was, we thought it was a porch pirate that was stolen during the holidays, but this was actually somebody that moved out of the area and shipped Amazon packages to his old house, went and got his stuff. So that was unfounded. We had an animal cruelty case, 1023 Jerona Avenue. This was a very sad case. The dog owner didn't want to care for the dog anymore and just let the dog starve to death. And we ended up clearing that by arrest as well. The weapons complaint, 3180 Parma Drive, is related to the vandalisms we spoke about earlier with the BB guns, and that was cleared by arrest. And then we had 3 DB cases at the end here that were all cleared by arrest.
Good job. Carla, you want to touch on juveniles?
Good morning. As the sheriff stated earlier, over the holiday we had some crime. We just started school this week and things seem to be on track. Next week we will start DARE program at Friendship Elementary for 10 weeks for all the 5th graders at the school. So we'll be in the schools 3 days a week for the next 10 weeks teaching the kids about DARE and hopefully curbing some of this violence because DARE has changed its goals beyond just drugs now. So we'll see how it goes.
It touches bullying, it touches a whole bunch of other topics.
Yeah. To help them be better citizens.
Julian, you guys want to talk about fraud unit, what's going on, in particular with the crimes against our elderly?
Absolutely. My name is Julian Almazi. I'm the supervisor with the Financial Crimes Unit. Just want to talk about some trends, or lack thereof. We haven't seen any new trends. The same trends continue. No new types of scams out there. Gift card scams are consistent. Most scams target the elderly citizens. We have seen some uptick in the publishers' clearinghouse scams. They're all phone generated. Typically, these kind of scams involve suspects that are in the United States. In these type of scams, we are successful in tracking them down and charging them. The majority of the suspects in the scams that we see are foreign scammers, and most of these scams originate overseas. Still, digital currency is the preferred method. We have had great success in tracing funds. We continue to give fraud presentations throughout the county. Once the citizens hear about, they contact the sheriff, and we continue to give this fraud presentation almost weekly. We had actually 2 this week.
3. I did one last night.
Okay, so 3. I stand corrected. Just to let you know about the efforts of the unit, just in the last quarter alone, we recovered $354,000 for the victims, and from 2021 to 24, that figure is about over $1.9 million that we recovered.
But you got to remember, I'm going to ask you to talk about one that happened with a woman for $250,000 here recently. They're only going to recover like $36,000 of that $250,000 that she fell for a pop-up that there was child porn on her computer, and she just continually, the hook was into her. And they do a great job. They've been trained by the Secret Service and Homeland Security on how to track this stuff down, but once it gets transferred overseas, it's lost.
Actually, we do that in-house, Sheriff. We do our tracing in-house now. We have enough technology to do it ourselves. The case you're referring to, the lady, we were able to recover $56,000. We are still attempting to recover more. And unfortunately, with these cryptocurrency exchanges, it takes time. They are overseas. They are not required to cooperate with law enforcement, but most of them do. We did have a lady in Deltona also that lost almost $29,000. Last month, the sheriff actually presented her with a check for $24,000, which was most of the money that we recovered. And then just recently, a few days ago, I recovered the rest of the money, which came from overseas. And I'm sure the sheriff will give her the rest, and she doesn't know it yet. So
she'll love that.
Yeah.
So thank you.
We met her in the Berry with her sister.
So I heard a lot of in the news about people who buy gift cards, and then when they go use them, there's no funds in it. How do they do that? How does that happen?
So there is a new trend that has been going around. We haven't had many of those, but the scammers will go around the stores and then open the case for the gift card, and then they will take those numbers, copy them, and then enter them into an application, and then once the gift card has been activated, they will drain the funds.
So how do you know, as a customer, how do you know that you're walking away with a card that has fun?
Unfortunately, it happens. It doesn't happen often, but it happens. And they typically will put it back in the rack with the rest of the gift cards. So you go there, just grab one, go to the counter, activate it, and then once it's activated, they get a notification, and then the funds are removed.
Yeah, the worst part about it is you go back to the store and they won't give you the money back.
That is correct, yes. Gift cards are like cash, unfortunately.
Todd, schools.
Hello, I'm Captain Smith, the Director of Safety and Security for Volusia County Schools. I want to share a couple things that we're doing to keep our kids safe. So when you come to our schools, you'll notice that there's fences around the schools. All our gates are shut and locked. Our doors are shut and locked. Everybody comes in through the single point of entry so that we can vet any guests that come onto the school property. That way we ensure that we're keeping bad people out and getting the right people in. So as you saw in the video earlier this school year, we had a lot of 4 to 5 Florida tips. Our highest week was 167 tips in a week. In December, before the winter break, we had just 16 tips on the week of December 9th. But every one of those tips, even when we were getting 167 a week, are investigated thoroughly. One of the tips we got through 4 to 5 Florida was a written threat to kill, and we conducted an investigation and actually identified a suspect up in Reading, Pennsylvania that had sent the tip in, and we were able to charge, it was a juvenile, we were able to charge that juvenile accordingly for written threats to kill.
What's interesting was Pennsylvania doesn't do that.
Correct, but they got on board, we're good.
I think in New York, they would comply with that. Julie, I'd be very happy.
All right. Gentle pressure consistently applied. Might get there.
We got warrants on both of them. We are waiting on them to pick them up now.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They would cooperate with us.
Yeah.
Another one, we got a threat on social media, written threats to kill, identified the suspect who was a student at Seabreeze High School, and we worked with Deltona, got that student arrested. Got another 4 to 5 Florida tip for written threats to kill, and identified the sender and arrested them as well. So we're consistently looking at every one of these tips and ensuring that they're followed up and that they are thoroughly investigated, and we're leaving no rock unturned. We also started doing random screenings this year for weapons, and this month actually we're going to start testing and evaluating the Evolve weapon technology. Their prices have come down a lot, so we're going to be looking at whether or not that is a viable solution for us and how well it works, and if it is a potential vendor for us. We also have Canine Maverick is now going to the schools and sniffing for weapons. We have over 140 vape detectors in our schools, so that if the kids are trying to vape in the bathrooms or places that normally could think they can get away with it, they can't. Like Ms. Carla said, we have our second DARE class, and it's going to be here in Deltona, which is absolutely amazing. And then we've had 21 schools audited so far by the Office of Safe Schools to ensure that we're in compliance. And each of those audits, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of ways to fail. Every door must be locked. You have to have a safe zone identifier in every single classroom. You have to have hundreds and hundreds of pages of documentation, and we're doing very, very well. We've only had 2 schools that have had any issues at all. One didn't have a safe zone identifier. Obviously, we got that rectified within a few minutes. And then another one, that morning, a lock had failed on a door, and it had been reported to get fixed. And they happened to audit us the same morning that the lock failed. So we obviously got somebody out there and got that fixed too. So out of the thousands of ways to fail, we've been doing phenomenal, and I couldn't be more proud of the work that's being done. So.
Sheriff, that technology that you mentioned, is that the technology that sees the shape of an image?
No, so Evolve weapons detection is, you have Garrett metal detectors, you have Open Gate metal detectors, and you have Evolve. So each has their pros and cons, and we currently have numerous Garrett metal detectors, and we have one Open Gate metal detector, and now we're looking to see which one is the best, Open Gate, Evolve, and for the needs that we have. So it's more a metal detection technology. We've looked into the technology to like artificial intelligence for cameras. It is incredibly expensive right now.
The reason I ask is I know there's a charter school down in Seminole County that is testing some technology that is essentially is an X-ray type system, but it looks for weapons shapes so that you don't feel like you're going through a metal detector. It's a little less in your face, but it's still there.
So as far as the metal detectors go, yes, it does determine the density, the location of the metal. There are some factors in there. But if you were asking about seeing the shape on like artificial intelligence, that is not what we're looking at.
Question. So I've been getting parents telling me about the problems they're having with the parking, parents parking to pick up their children. And now it's getting worse because you have a two-way road. Parents are parking, blocking one road, so parents are actually going on the wrong way to bypass the line of traffic. The worst area is right here on Providence and Elkhorn. I mean, I was caught all the way across by the plaza where the bakery is for about 5 minutes just waiting there with all that traffic that's coming into the school here. And then you have people literally go around me and go into the opposite road to bypass all that line. And then you have the cars coming this way, facing each other. So now you have the other cars going onto the easement to avoid each other. So if you can...
we will work on it. Yes, absolutely.
Deltona Middle School is another one that I've gotten complaints about.
So at Deltona Middle yesterday, I was there and watched the vehicles stacking, and they wrap all the way through the entire parking lot. It's not just in that first section. So
they even park in the water department.
Parents do wild things.
The other question I have: what happened with the Heritage Middle School piercing in the bathrooms? A student piercing other students in the bathroom.
Yeah, on Facebook last night.
Without, I got a call about that, without parents' knowledge or whatever. And according to this parent that called me, she said that her child got pierced in the nose. And for some reason, she's going to have to take it to the medical because it's hard for her to take it out. Sure. So I'm like, I have no idea. I have no idea.
This is the first I'm hearing about it.
I know, I didn't know.
So neither are we.
Thank God it was only
Reporting it on Facebook doesn't get any service, but maybe it does.
Well, I got a call about it.
She should be called the police, no offense.
Of course.
It's an assault.
Exactly. Listen, we, the Deltona commissioners are responsible for the unit.
Justifiably so.
You need to get your nose
Huh?
So you didn't get your nose pierced?
No, never do. I was shocked to find that out. This is going on in the bathroom. Middle school, Heritage.
Yeah, if we have a deputy there, if they report it to us, we will definitely investigate it and determine whether or not a crime was committed. We're there for them.
One student and it was blown out, but
So,
Part of the Facebook post that was reported to the school.
It was on Facebook?
Yeah, that may be true. Everything that's reported to the schools doesn't necessarily report to us. Yeah, I think that's one of his biggest struggles with that. Yeah.
It wasn't on Facebook.
Anthony, you want to talk real quick? We got outside.
staffing issue with cars in schools. If there's anything that the city can do to control traffic, speed tables, dividers.
Some of it is just simple topography.
Yeah.
Schools are not built to handle that, and it's, you know, then it becomes, how do you deal with it when it flows out on the street like?
And it's not a city, we can't get involved with Board of Education and Sheriff's Department.
But when it overflows onto a city street and this and that, there's an opportunity in this.
So we do have processes in place to try to mitigate that. At the school, at our the Olson facility, we have a team of people that can go out and they do traffic studies. They watch the traffic. There's a whole process that they go through to try to find optimum ways to get the kids in and out. And my plan is to reach out to them and ask them to look at that. And then on the streets themselves, off of the school property, I'll get with the captain and we'll try to address the traffic concerns that are occurring outside of the fence of the school. So if we attack it from both angles, we've been very successful at reducing the number of complaints. The sheriff gets a lot of them at the beginning of the school year. We get all the different departments on board. They all help us. We all work together and as a team and try to get things under control. So if there's a school that has gotten lackadaisical or has had some issues and it's brought to our attention, we'll get the team all together and we'll work on getting that resolved.
So does Deltona have 2 entries?
And I think you guys are doing a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
By the way, it's just, if there's an opportunity for us to do more than
I appreciate it.
Let's do the first step. Let's say have them go out and have a study, and then we'll work on it.
Yeah, because we need no parking signs potentially. There's a lot of different things. They can redesign the flow of the traffic, but when you get into that stuff, there's experts to do that, and then they tell us, you can do this, you're not allowed to do this. So it's not as simple as, well, this design looks much better, until the fire department says, no, I can't get a fire truck in there because you're going to block this corner, and our truck's X number of feet wide, and then when it turns, it'll rip the car's side off, and or you're going to block an ADA ramp, or there's a lot of things that go into it.
Good firefighters for everything up.
If you want to be told no,
Firefighters and lawyers.
Full disclosure, I spoke to the principal at Deltona Lakes before about the traffic situation, and they tried to reconfigure the traffic at the school at least 3 times. So, I mean, I don't know, I mean, it's the oldest school we have. I don't know what else we can do.
So normally those schools aren't built with a capacity that they currently have. They add buildings, they put portables in. I'm not saying that happened at that school, but what I've found through many of these circumstances is that they've expanded the footprint of the school and the number of kids that are in the school. So then you have a lot more parents that come there. And the parking situation is designed more for a smaller school where we now have and a lot more vehicles. So how many vehicles were each household have when the school was designed, and now we are, in 2024 where everybody has a vehicle and they all come to get their kids, and then you have 2 parents showing up to get a kid. It's trying to navigate all of those complexities. So
You can have Discovery Elementary and that.
All right. Anthony, you want to talk about what we had outside?
Yes, outside we have some meridian barriers in light of what just happened in New Orleans on New Year's. Just brings it back around to vehicles and crowds of people. We were able to acquire 4 trailers from Department of Emergency Management and our involvement on a regional domestic security task force. These barriers, if set up properly, will stop a vehicle, will stop up to a semi. So we do have them out here. Just, if you think about it, Deltona, maybe in charge of most special events, I'd say Deltona is right behind Daytona with the amount of special events you have. And it's not just the races. There's all kinds of events in Deltona that these kind of barriers can be used for. I know the city a lot of times think, hey, we'll put a tractor here or a dump truck or whatever. These barriers are a very effective tool in preventing that. We brought them out just to show them.
Just to show you so that when you're planning, they're available to you. And obviously, Captain McKnight will always say, hey, this is what we have. You want to?
Are these the ones that are from the FDLE cache?
Yes. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm about. So, if you guys want to, go any other questions, you want to run outside?
Well, we just had an event here this past Saturday, and we had a conversation before the event. And so I was a little worried after our
I just kept looking at the entrances here and how accessible it was where everybody wants. However, having the fire truck and one of your cruisers there made us a little bit more comfortable, blocking.
I think what we should do is the city manager should start coordinating with Omar. And when you're going to have an event, we can go out and take a physically look at the deposit and then say, this is what we're going to do for this event. This is what's all out there.
Absolutely.
So, you guys want to go out and take a look and see? We can come outside. Do they have any other questions? Tonight we have the graduation. You want to go over that real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. Tonight is a great day for our 7th Academy class that's graduated this evening in the land. 4 of our 7 graduates are Deltona residents. Wow. So good stuff. We got another class scheduled in February. And that class has, we're hiring deputies that will have experience. So it's not full-blown police academy that this class is graduating tonight.
What's interesting is we have 7 people graduating, we have 250 people showing up for the smallest graduating class as the largest group of people.
They got a big support system.
So one person's bringing 52 or something, right? It's a crazy number.
Where's the graduation?
Sanborn Center. 5 to 6 is with hers. 6 o'clock when we start, and then we have to get home in time to watch Notre Dame. Andrew, you have to say about that?
Remember our city managers?
I know.
I don't know if I should bring this up, but we even have a conversation about this. People are asking me updates. Any update would be Charlie, please, with the little Charlie.
It's closed. There's not going to be. The state attorney's not going to file any charges. It's just an horrific act. And DCF is DCF. Whatever DCF wants to do, which I don't think is going to do anything, because they didn't really want to do anything other than move the family out and have the home cleaned up is what they wanted to do.
So they moved out, or
They moved them out just to clean it up, and then they moved them back in. But that's DCF's call on that, not ours. Because our folks called it right out when that occurred. So they were there for the weekend.
Well, thank you and your team for
Well, thank you guys for working.
Yes.
Hopefully we never have to do that again.
Absolutely.
We've already got it.
But we will.
We will.
We will. So.
But I just, again, want to thank you, just like Commissioner Davidson said, thank you for always being available to be part of our events and also for the safety of our residents. Thank you so much. We wish you nothing but safe and blessings this new year. And please let us know how us commissioners can make the job a little easier here in the city of Deltona.
Keep the support you've been giving me as long as I've been sheriff. Seriously, from the technology to adding deputies, when you wanted to add things, to saying, hey, these guys want to do that. I don't think anybody in this room has not worked here at one point in their career as being here. So everybody has a tie to the city of Deltona. Like I said, Eric just said 4. I don't know what the total number now is since we started Rome Academy, but it's probably pushing 15 or 16 rehired kids that were born and raised in Deltona that are coming back to work in the city they were born and raised in.
So Carver's going to be one of them, because she's going to be 3, and she's already, we have to buy her a little.
We got to take care of her.
Oh my goodness.
So are these 4 going to be assigned to their hometown?
They'll cycle through first, and then I have obviously as the need goes, they'll go backward and do it. So, Anthony, you guys want to take a walk around outside and take a look? What we got going on? Victor, good morning. Good morning, sir. I saw you, Steve.